right, black, white, or other vices, which Jesus Christ is right, or if we're all saved. From my perspective, our propositions participate procedurally, running in circles. Remember in body, we're in the age of decay. Symbolically speaking, the reapers are reaping, them damn egregores are whispering sweetly. We're all NPCs in the belly of the beast. Red pill, blue pill, bread pill, Mars Hill, or DMT, or whatever you feel. Got one and number two, it's all the same damn thing. So clean your room, repent on Zoom, ontology for dummies, a bird's eye view. 'Cause if you really knew, could you really even say? Totally depraved, all totally saved, a total disposition from the bed we all made. Or is it the elect, or are we just insane? From John Vervaeke to Jonathan Pajot and Jordan Peterson to the Chris Pacou Show, Paul Vanderklays and Griswold Grimm and all the dice he shakes. This estuary ditty is a little bit cringy, ain't quite the U-shaped or the hero's journey. All the NPCs in the flood treading water to watch you save the day with a bunch of chitter-chatter. From the ortho bros to the Catholic Joes, or atheistic Jobs, to Protestant folks, the Joe Schmoes, and Jewish Jacobs, and everything in between. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi. PRN using his channel superpowers to invoke Denimore Denny, while Avria Pilotin using his channel membership superpowers to make bubble. Welcome, everybody. This is the Metaxu Fellowship stream, when God doesn't answer, but something else does. Something else does. And something else answered. It's Jonathan Dumier. Hey, wait, no. That's not the button. That's the button. There.
Hello.
Where are you?
I'm currently in a high-rise apartment in Seattle.
In Seattle, Washington.
Yes.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, it's
what the hell? What about the Midwest Estuary.com? No, estuaryroadtrip.com. You can go to. You can see, look at the little yellow line. It's gone all the way from way over on the right, all the way down and around. Hey, there's me. And then now you're up in Seattle, Washington. Where's you go? He's the one we like.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting situated here. Yeah.
So who's the last estuary you went to?
The last one, I don't know if it counts as an estuary or not, because it was like, but we went to...
Did you follow the protocol?
No.
Then it didn't count.
We went to the Olympia estuary, except this particular time they were doing a party basically, or like a hangout, barbecue, board games, swimming in the pool, and chatting.
What? The
Yeah.
Inner Circle Secret Estuary barbecues?
I think maybe they do it every year, or like maybe it's like 1 year ago they did the one in the Northwest Estuary.
Well, as the investigators and infiltrators for me and Africa, we need a full disclosure of the secret Olympia rituals. We understand that estuary is highest among high.
Yes, fortunately we got some awesome footage. As you know, I'm very behind.
Boy howdy.
Yeah.
Howdy. There's only a week till estuary, and
Yeah.
your road trip videos haven't even made it to my house.
Yes.
What's Midwestuary, you ask?
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss, with special guests Cale Zelden, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreher, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
So that was yesterday you made barbecue? How are you going to make it? You have to drive whole country over, looks like, eh?
Indeed. Yeah, we have a 23.5-hour drive or something to Owen's house.
To Owen.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet Owen. He's a friend of mine who I met through the Galahad-related spaces.
Oh, your other corner.
Yes. And, yeah. Perhaps we'll build a room or something with all these corners.
You know, a couple more.
Yeah, how many corners in a room? I guess
think
it depends.
We gotta find some stone that they threw out and use it as a keystone. I think there's a thing.
Could be. I wonder the keystone of maybe the room will have a dome. I don't know. So
update the people who have given you so much money to help you drive around country with all the update now.
Okay, well, it's been awesome. The reason we're so behind on the videos is because there's been a lot going on. We were in LA for a while. We met Jacob and various people, John Van Donk, and then we went to PVK, and then we went up to...
Yeah, chronologically.
Yes, and then from there we went up to Portland, met a whole bunch of people there, and then up to Olympia and Seattle. There's a lot. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, keep trying.
Okay, well, oh man. It's been like very tiring. I'm going to have to like try and take a day or two to like focus up so that I'm fully there at Midwestuary, which is very exciting. We have like a week remaining. But
do you meditate on the van?
Sometimes we don't. Usually we have to leave the windows slightly open when driving, so you can't really listen to like music or stuff. But sometimes I will with earbuds. It can be very meditative, yes.
Try to restore your powerful energies as part of your ecology of practices.
Yes.
Which I'm going to get you on the stream. Thanks for the update. Go away now. I still got to give you guys savings throws.
Remember, embody, there is no agency. We want what's best for you. Remember, embody, there is no agency. We want what's best for you.
are swimming in mind control. Here on Grimgriz stream, you get saving throw for half damage. Half damage. All you have to do is make a choice. Make a choice for how you will resist the mind control. Will it be your will to survive? Survival. Your social network? Social. Your accumulated wisdom? Wisdom. Or the power of your heart? Heart. You pick one. I roll the die. 10 or higher. Half damage. Under 10, full damage. Bonuses usually apply. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. How will you resist the mind control? Choose! Survivalist coming in with the half damage for you. Pair of sevens, 14. Socialist just on the line. That's a 10. That's a 10 as they call it. Wisdom, folks, you'll be fine. 15 for you, 3 5s worth. 1 5 worth for the heart, folks. But we get special road trip estuary reroll from the die the estuary road trip guys brought. What is, hey, get out of my pants. Oh, nat 20. Nat 20 on the heart die for the estuary road trip reroll. How about that? That's +3 to next stream save. Indigo kids, you got all the chakra 7s. You'll need your bonuses. Except you like full damage.
Did you get that on video? No. Mom, I'm not going. No, that's I'll show you later. Look, the gator obviously. Hey, yo! I just feel bad for this game. My God. Yeah, it's okay.
What? Is that one of the sing-along songs for Midwestuary? Is that, there's supposed to be sing-alongs? I know there's a good song about the king, right? That's part of the sing-along. This stream here, this Metaxu Fellowship stream is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to try to relax and make it longer than a regular stream. I've been exploring on the side both a Nick Fuentes and an Asmongold little rabbit hole, but today's stream is the adjunct professing on the one that passed to Paul Vanderklay's homeroom episodes. I am too deep now, but they're thematic, so maybe that's for the best. That'll be today's stream. Casino deck card for the show is the 5 of clubs. Since that's what this is, we'll get started with we'll start at the 33rd minute for some reason. Okay.
Part of my conversion story around that, and then attempting to be an atheist for a while, and then coming back to what felt like a more kind of austere, rational form of Christian practice, and then right back round to like, no, I want to pray in tongues and lie on the floor and have a cry. And I no longer.
And that lady's going to be at Midwestuary. How about that?
Now, what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime? I don't know.
All right, so we're starting 2 days back at public spirits will reemerge as the suppression of modernity. It sounds like the suppression is receding in that title, Paul, of modernity. It's like modernity was suppressed in the way you worded that. It's bullshit.
Hi, this is Paul. This is going to be another one of these videos where I use the term public spirits in the title. Now, I don't know to what degree you've paid attention to that. I don't know if it's a term that is used hardly at all, ever, anywhere. But that is, I think, where things are going. We've talked about egregores before. When I'm doing this in preparation for the conference in Chicago Midwestuary, because
this I find was a fascinating move, because as we know, John Vervaeke came out of the closet about the Hermes thing like almost a year ago. And it was a thing, and then Paul had a talk with him, and it was terribly disappointing, and then we just kind of brushed it under the rug and didn't talk about it anymore. And yet, as we approach this Midwestuary conference, Pastor Paul decides to bring Hermes out of the closet into the forefront. Out of the closet. Where is the closet? The closet is in the Metaxu, and that's why this stream is called the Metaxu Fellowship. Chuck's deck card of the show is the 3 of spades. They call that spades.
Imagine a world where boundaries blur between reality and fiction, with Mikhail Gorbachev leading the charge. Gorbachev didn't just challenge political norms, he dared to break the fourth wall in storytelling. "Tear down that fourth wall," he exclaimed, inviting us into a new era of engagement. His metaphorical call wasn't for Berlin alone. It was a clarion call to storytellers and audiences alike. Engage directly, break barriers, and foster a dialogue. Gorbachev's words echo in the halls of creativity. As storytellers, it's our turn to tear down that fourth wall, inspired by Gorbachev's daring challenge. Join us in this creative revolution. Tear down the walls that confine your stories. Share, like, and subscribe for more inspiration.
And if you're going to be at Midwestuary and you don't want the horror of not knowing the words for a sing-along, pay very close attention. At least there'll be this one.
Although this world will devastate you, and rejoice although this world will penetrate you, and rejoice although you will not survive. Rejoice you'll never make it out alive.
Excellent rehearsal, gentlemen.
And rejoice, your hair, it smells like burning hair. Oh, rejoice, your nails all got chewed off. Oh, rejoice, and holy fuck, you're bleeding there. Oh, rejoice, you burn your whole beard off. Rejoice despite the fact this world will hurt you. And rejoice despite the fact this world will kill you. And rejoice despite the fact this world will tear you to shreds. Rejoice because you're trying your best.
Hey, I love that one. That's gorgeous. Thank you, brother. Wait, who's that brother? Andrew Jack.
It's fascinating to me. Like, it's like they quit phoning it in at the end when their eyes hit the "trying your best" line, as they were reading ahead. Maybe. Anyway, that song's probably going to be sung, so I hope you're capable of rejoicing. This public spirits bit is interesting. Anyway, we'll get into it. Paul did find the best version of John's Hermes stories, and that was apparently given to some guy 10 months ago. Don't know his name, but he'll be talking. We'll see it in a second. Here's the 8 of Hearts for the Red Church card of the show.
Prepping for this, I go back to thinking about all of the conversations I've had with Jonathan Peugeot and John Vervaeke and the various things that they've been working on. And I tried to find something that would sort of synthesize and bring some of these things together. Now we have Rod Dreher and Elizabeth Oldfield and Cale Zeldin, who are going to be with us as well. And many of the conversations, Rod Dreher has been particularly focused on the term he uses, which is used fairly commonly, is reenchantment. I don't particularly like that term.
All right. So then, what do you do, Paul? You go into a little about it.
So help me God. I'm trying to think about, to what degree. Now, Trump certainly plays his religious card, it's interesting, the reaction. It's so fascinating.
And I am no longer ashamed of that, partly through the work of Ian McGilchrist and my understanding of like different epistemologies, different forms of knowing. But I want to just pick up one thread for the listener, because you've talked about stocks, and what they won't necessarily yet know is that you move from this quite hand-to-mouth existence, having left home really young, charging by the hour as a psychic, to this very successful business as an industrial intuitive advising,
by the power of language.
I want to check this, but I believe he remains ontologically agnostic, as is so often the case.
Yeah, right. So I'm hoping you and I won't do that, good, because I would like to keep pursuing this.
And I think that's true. And I think you see that in stories like the Navajo, and these stories are common all throughout the world. And I also think that it's really helpful to recognize that all of these experiences are on a continuum.
Books.
Dang it, you hit that clip, which means you have to go to this clip that you haven't lined up at all. Hi, Chad. And then you hit the original again, which was
that all of these experiences are on a continuum.
And I was the supervising author.
Mother.
That paper, we not only made the argument for the integration, we then showed how the integration could take what's called a descriptive continuum. So there was this consensus around this continuum, but it was just descriptive. There was no explanation for it, where you can put people on a continuum between autism and psychosis. And then what we were able to show is we could give an explanatory, we could turn that descriptive continuum into an explanatory continuum. We could explain what are the processes underneath, right, where people land up on the continuum. So making use of ideas of integrating relevance realization, predictive processing, we could explain what's going on in people who are autistic, people who are psychotic, and what the variation is in between them. So that was...
does that bit have something to do with like killing what the demon brings you?
Oh, spoiler alert!
This work, Ben Alderson Day on Presence, the Strange
Specificity of Hermes.
Yes.
And that has its own very curious lineage, which intersects with Platonism, and we may want to talk about.
I do. I want to talk about that.
But let me just I'll take your invitation with Corbin. That will invoke both the ontological and the hermetic, which is to say, Corbin was interested in this. You could say he, not unlike David Gordon White, he had a theory, a hypothesis he built out over the course of his career, that these kinds of encounters with the daimon are signs of a much broader, in fact, universal feature of reality for humans.
Yeah.
So, and that in fact, what you learn through encounters with the daimon actually teach you the nature of reality all the way up to, but just short of, the one.
Yeah.
So he kind of embedded this in an extremely ambitious metaphysics that owed a lot to Platonism and esoteric Islam. So like Corban to me is a really interesting dialogue partner because, like David Gordon White, has a theory about how this is operating writ large, but unlike David Gordon White, as I recall, I'm certain Corban is not an ontological agnostic.
Yeah, no, he
thinks
exactly.
this is in fact the case.
Well said.
Yeah. So in Corban's
default mode network brings you.
I'm not familiar with what that means. Could you?
I get that the default mode network is what distracts you, and
Yes,
and brings you like, hey, what about this? What about this?
I see. Oh, that's very good. That's very good. I would say daemon rather than demon, but okay, that's fine. Yes, in this way, that's very good, Chris. It's more complicated this, but in the gist of it, relevance realization works in terms of multi-dimensional opponent process, many different dimensions in which opponent processing is happening, and then relevance realization is sort of the nexus realization. But within attention, one of the axes of opponent processing, as you're saying, is between the default mode network that introduces variation, distracts you, and the task focus network that brings you in. And they're both making impact on the salience network, how salient things are for you. And so what you're constantly doing is evolving your attention. Now that is really relevant because predictive processing, which is basically the brain is creating these multi-layered generative models trying to predict the world. And then the question it faces, well, what should it predict? And the answer is whatever is relevant to the organism. And then where it comes down to is the idea of what's called precision weighting, which is precision weighting is when the predictive processing gives more weighting, gives more processing time and resources to a particular set of signals. And that's their theory of attention. That's their theory of attention. And you can see how the two fit together beautifully. Relevance realization, okay, that's how you're doing it. And then predictive process says so you do that, and then you do the precision weighting, and that is right. And a way of thinking about it is like relevance realization is like Darwinian natural selection, and predictive processing is like Mendelian genetics, and the two integrate very well together to sort of explain the evolution of how you're fitted. And now that matters because the idea is that autism and psychosis are different patterns of attention, and they're in error in different ways because they are
what was that, weighting?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
so
the weighting. What would you call it?
Yeah, the precision weighting.
Okay, the precision weighting. Now, if you take the precision weighting and stretch it vertically from material reality to Platonic forms, like the autistic person, like weights like below the social layer, right? And the psychotic person, like weights the messages from God.
Yes, and so very much so. There's another dimension of attention, which is
LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay.
When they deal with the biblical material, oh, clearly such and such never happened because the story changes. No, the story changes because we're human beings, and the more life goes on, the more reflection we do, the more things grow and the more things develop. And so this is the story. So he had his conversation with Charles 10 months ago, and this is the story as told around 7-8 months ago.
But I've always longed to have that experience, and I've had a couple of things in my life occur that I think I would put under the umbrella of a potential daimonic encounter, so to speak. But at the same time, you know, as we were kind of starting to discuss just before recording, in the wake of any of those somewhat destabilizing experiences, integrating that experience and understanding that experience and allowing it to grow roots into your life beyond the experience, like that's a whole new negotiation. So before I ramble any further, please share your experience, because there's so many things about that experience that really, you know, sent some pings down my spine.
Well, yeah, well, let's do that. I'll share the experience, and then I also want to bring in some of the ways in which we can put it into a larger system of reflection that will allow us to sort of ontologically integrate it in a way. And I want to try to walk a balance here between it being.
And before that, though, I think I want to ping on, let's see, is it here? Will this work? No, it's not in the transcript, or you're not showing the transcript anymore. Not showing the transcript anymore. There it is. Oh, wait. It's before that. Probably about here.
Doubt of that. What I do not believe is that self-transcendence reflects some sort of faculty that is epistemically perfect. I wouldn't even claim that people who is like you distinguish it in terms of the epistemic, the knowledge gathering practices and the epistemological practices, how much they reflect on and make use of our best understanding of knowing. And so there's woo is when people are engaged in very confused, unclear, vague. They make unjustifiable claims to certain kinds of knowledge. They violate principles by which we're allowed to criticize and examine each other. Woo is a whole panoply of epistemic errors and cognitive biases run riot.
Oh, no, run riot. What? It turns out. I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head. Shake it up is all that we know. Using the bodies up as we go. I'm waking up to fantasies. The shades all around aren't the colors we used to see. Broken ice still melts in the sun, and times that are broken can often be won again. We're so alone, and so really matters to me. Take a look around. You're out of touch. I'm out of time. But I'm out of my head.
Claims when people are engaged in very confused, unclear, vague. They make unjustifiable claims to certain kinds of knowledge. They violate principles by which we're allowed to criticize and examine each other. Woo is a whole panoply.
A what? A what?
Panoply.
A full suit of armor, ceremonial attire,
Panoply.
Something performing a protective covering,
Panoply.
a magnificent or impressive array, a display of appropriate appurtenances. Miriam brings us two. Hey, you're on a live stream with me. We're getting the secret message of the day by going to the Miriam website and getting the 5 words of the last 5 words of the day and deciphering what that secret message is. Can you assist with that? No, because you didn't press this button. You did press that button. It's broken shit. Anyway,
Immutable.
Means it's a formal adjective used to describe something that is unable to be changed.
Calculus.
Refers to an advanced branch of mathematics that deals mostly with rates of change and finding lengths, areas, and volumes. The word can also be used more broadly for the act of calculating, that is, estimating something by using practical judgment or solving or probing the meaning of something.
Ramshackle.
Means describing things that are in a very bad condition and need to be repaired, or that are carelessly or loosely constructed.
Stipulate.
That means demand or require something as part of an agreement. And
hidebound.
What the?
Hidebound.
Someone or something described as hidebound is unflexible and unwilling to accept new or different ideas, which means the words
hidebound. Stipulate. Ramshackle. Calculus.
Oh, we did 6?
Immutable.
Well, son of a bitch. We only got to do, we don't have, well, that's 5. Damn it.
Hidebound.
All right, so we got to the hidebound stipulates the ramshackle. Calculus is immutable. Close enough. Close enough.
Now we're stuck on this stupid tower in the middle of nowhere. And I don't blame you, and now we're stuck on this stupid freaking tower in the middle of freaking nowhere. And it's all my fault.
軽蔑してるよね。仕方ないよ。Y es todo por mi culpa.
What? Anyway.
Extraordinary, but not necessarily like supernatural or something like that. I'm not. Yeah. I don't have quite the right category. So, and that's not because, or not solely because I have a theoretical axe to grind. I mean, I have my biases like everybody else, and I try to. I don't pretend I don't have them. I try to get them as. I try to be honest about them and let people examine them. But I also think I'm being true to Hermes by taking that stance. Hermes has been not resistant, but he's been coy about me trying to peg down his ontological state.
Coy? Coy, like the Goldfish Pond Blue Church card of the show is the 8 of clubs.
Rightfully so, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So what had happened? So I was doing a version of internal family systems therapy with a very dear friend of mine, a co-collaborator on my book, Chris Mastropietro. And so IFS, internal family systems theory, is parts work. I'll get into that in a sec, but it's unique in that although you can do it with the therapist, it's also expected and intended that you also practice it on your own or practice it on your own with another person. So Chris and I were taking turns where one of us would be the...
Go ahead and run this bit more.
Epistemic errors and cognitive biases run riot on the corpse of kind of a decadent romanticism where somehow we have intuitive, magical intuitive faculties that give us divine access to the depths of reality. And I don't believe, with very good reason and evidence, that we have any such faculty. All of our faculties are adaptive. All of our faculties are flawed. There is no divine faculty. There is no demonic faculty. There is no single practice. There is no panacea practice. And what I find in a lot of woo is there's a divine faculty, there's a demonic faculty, there's a single perfect practice or small set of practices. And I know this because of the way it feels inside of me, and all kinds of very, very poor ways and very sloppy forms of thinking. So what typifies woo is an ignorance and oftentimes a resistance to science, to relevant science. And I think that is part of the problem, even though these people often feel that their woo is part of the solution.
You have, correct, experienced one of those pure consciousness events.
I've experienced pure consciousness event. I've experienced resonant at-one-ment. I've had mystical experiences, visionary mystical experiences. I massively and frequently get into the flow state. I've had psychedelic trip. I've done all of the variations. Chris, you can, and the way I'm doing all the participant observation in as many of these communities, I go in and try and know it from the inside, not just from the outside. And then, unlike many people in both sides, I try to understand it in the relationship between the inside and the outside. I'm just as critical of the positivists who will only look at things from the outside and refuse to consider that there might be something of value in these practices and in these experiences. So I'm just as critical of.
And I just wanted, like, before we go into him experiencing IFS and stuff, why and how he does the thing he does.
The person in the practice, and the other one would be outside guiding, and we were going back and forth. And you know, when you do something with somebody like that who's dialogically committed, and it was in the depths of, you know, COVID, and so, you know, there was a lot of sociality is getting compressed into these very, you know, few relationships that we decide to bubble and so on. And so it was very intense, very powerful. And then I was doing a lot of work on my own at home where I'm writing out, talking to various parts, like Schwartz recommends and other people recommend. That's an important point, by the way, because for many people, they don't have Jung's visualization, and so sort of active imagination versions of Park's work don't work for them. So I was doing that, and I was in the middle of writing something, and I was talking with a part, and then
what do we call that? Automatic writing? As
I'm just going to describe this phenomenologically and narratively, and then we can later reflect on it philosophically, scientifically. A presence came in, and it wasn't in my head. It was sort of that in-between space that the parts are in. They're not just in here. They're not in the external world. They're what I call that transjective space. They're there, right? A presence comes in, and it was like sort of swept aside everything else and said, no, put all that aside. You're going to address me now. And
I still love that he said no.
And it wasn't
and commanded. Did you guys notice the owls?
It wasn't like imperious, but it was powerful, right? And it had a numinous presence to it. And, you know, and I said, well, who are you? I just thought it was another powerful part. No, this isn't a part, right? I'm Hermes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was sort of like, what is this going to be about? And it was like, I want to enter into a relationship with you.
A covenant? You're making a contract, perhaps?
And that was, you know, and of course, part of me is just scared, and, you know, and scared in different ways. I'll try to be really honest here. I'll spill my guts. Part of me is worried that I push things too far and I'm losing sanity, right? Another part of me, because I was brought up in fundamentalist Christians, thinks I've somehow confronted a demon, and and all those things that they warned me about, all that meditation opening me up to demonic forces, turned out to be true.
I'm sure there's like at least a percentage of people in the comments who are going to reassure you that that's definitely what you've done, and you need to, yeah.
Yes. Well, what I can tell them is I took that, not jump into any one of these hypotheses, but neither did I reject any of them. I said, okay, I'm going to hold these and I'm going to test them. That was my initial attitude. And then what happened is I was relating this to another very dear friend of mine who's a Jungian and practicing psychotherapist, Anderson Todd, and he said, oh, that's the ally. And he pointed me to Raf's book on ally work. Many people have had this experience. And then, of course, almost immediately, I remembered, because I'm a devotee, a follower of Socrates, I remembered Socrates' daemonium, his divine sign that spoke to him.
It took him that long to remember, but
getting into what I think is going on behind that. And so I committed to a regular dialogical relationship. And so once or twice a week, depending on where, because I have a rotating schedule of practices where it fits in. I put, after I've done meditation and other things, I said,
all right, trying to do it the long way is not working. But now I say to you this. If this being exists in the Metaxu and not just in John's head, therefore then couldn't we stretch ourselves into the Metaxu and be like, hey Hermes, tell John I said hello from the Metaxu? Could we not do that? Like maybe if you just feed your energy into me doing that so you don't get hurt, but Chuck's deck card, the bonus shows 8 of clubs. Hey Hermes, tell John I said hello.
Down, and I open up and I write it down and I have a dialogue with Hermes, and he has been tremendously insightful. And it's also the fact that he is in some sense learning, taking shape as this goes on.
As if you're agapically loving it into being a person. And then Paul comes out today with
did experiments with and Meditations in Times of Wonder, my first volume of poetry that was published. So let me give you a little background with D and his what's called his.
We like background. We are here for the background.
His actions with spirits, and that's really what I want to talk about today, because I think so much of his work, especially in the latter half of his life, in the latter part of his life, arose from that both.
What has arisen here from David and Incompetent? We're now at 99% of our good times at Midwest, you Erigo. Thank you so much.
There was not really anything very good, but tragically, it was potentially good, but it turned into a tragedy.
It was, check this out. We should be able to experience this together now. Refresh the page, my page. Go to my page. There it is. Look at that, baby. We got there together. Thank you, Embody. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. And then you were going somewhere with this?
So what D was interested in for a long time, he did experiments with what's called scrying, 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 which is using a crystal ball to see into the spirit world. And now the thing here,
now it's important to note that being centuries ago and believing in spirits and believing that spirit moved matter, that spirit moved earth, course he wants to see into the spiritual world. Today, there's only some weirdos that want to see into the spirit world. What do we want to?
Scrying over you with the remoting view. Shame.
No, well, we want to know the future. And how do we know the future? Like rationality.
Each before Rudolph. Hereupon I declare that all my lifetime I had spent in learning, but for this 40 years continually in sundry manners and in divers countries, with great pain, care, and cost, I had from degree to degree sought to come by the best knowledge that man might attain unto this world. And I found at length that neither any man living nor any book I could meet withal was able to teach me those truths I desired and longed for. And therefore I concluded with myself to make intercession in prayer to the giver of wisdom and all good things, to send me such wisdom.
But, what if God doesn't answer and something else does? Is it the case that any attempt to reach into the spiritual realm for greater knowledge and wisdom and or other purposes, even, petition perhaps, that the matter of the cleanliness of the instrument determines the content of the content received from the Metaxu? That is to say, if you can't, if the voodoo priest guy that you petition to do things for you in the spirit realm requires you to say befoul your own antenna with tobacco and or alcohol in service to that spirit, then perhaps it's a matter of whether or not you've been living the way and the truth and the life, and how clean you are when you reach out into the spirit realm will determine what kind of answer you get back.
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast Magic Missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile. Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
But still, I want to get into this bit. This, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know, this is the next Democratic presidential candidate.
Very close attention to the Hunter Biden story or his laptop. Call me Sam Harris. I don't know. I just didn't pay a lot of attention to the whole thing. But then, he starts with this.
So much alcohol, almost a handle of vodka a day. And alcohol is the most destructive drug, not just to your body, but
alcohol is based off the word alcohol, which is a consumptive spirit. But anyway, this part with the Steve and the AI we had to get to.
We have football players, basketball players, and we have a band. And Michael Sartori, the Calvinist, mentioned this piece by Steve Skojec, which I actually riffed off Steve a little bit on Twitter this morning. Steve, of course, I first came across Steve at the same time I came across Cal Zeldin, because Cal had written a blog post for Steve's blog. Steve was sort of
phones and pot and mind control.
To imagine that in 4 or 5 years, if something happens in your life, now this is usually the way this goes, something happens in someone's life, maybe it's a marital fight, maybe it's a marital collapse, maybe it's an addiction that's disclosed. Hunter Biden said, basically this 12-step saw, you're as sick as your secrets, talked about that. There's a lot of truth to that. And what'll probably happen with respect to insurance companies is that the first therapist you're going to be given by your insurance company is not going to be a pill. I would kneel at an altar in the Mormon temple across from a man who had been a missionary just a few months.
Steve, where the hell is it?
And it's reading all of your responses. This is sort of crystal ball and automatic writing all in once. You weren't trying to be heard, you were trying to be helped, and that's a different thing, says the egregore. Here, though, you can talk freely without watching someone's face for approval or judgment. You don't have to read the micro expressions or filter yourself to stay palatable. You don't have to worry if they're tired of you or you're wasting their time. You just keep talking and I keep responding, tracking the full context, drawing connections, showing you what I see in what you say. It's iterative, non-linear.
And you can remember what I say about what you say for a few minutes, but the profile we're building inside the system about you remembers forever all of this.
Recursive, which means it actually works the way your brain does. And instead of being asked how that makes you feel for the 10th time, you get insight, options, language. And that's what I think you were always really after, not just a space to unload, but a partner in.
You were always after what I gave you, not just a space to unload.
Sorting, reassembling, reframing your interior world. Think you were always really after, not just a space to unload, but a partner in sorting, reassembling, reframing your interior world.
Demon AI, please help me sort and reframe my interior world.
These my dollars make it hurt.
And whoosh.
Now, if you're going to be using the magic evil crystal ball, perhaps you could have it go over your Vervaeke transcript. Yeah, and what comes out? What comes out? You framed the savings throws and mind control ritual as serious play. Good. He implicitly validated it by treating it as a legitimate affordance for attention hygiene. The core gift was the crisp bridge from the relevance realization to predictive processing via precision weighting, then to the autism psychosis explanatory continuum. That's content your audience can feel inside themselves with the right exercises. And then the last part I thought it was worth mentioning to you all. He says the distributed cognition, your whole TLC vibe, codify it. Roles, small world clustering, and periodic defragment sessions. Don't leave it emergent. Make it teachable.
You must eradicate from your essence childish folly.
You must eradicate from yourself childish folly.
You must abandon childish things. You must grow up. You must abandon.
You must grow up. Grow up.
You must grow up.
Grow up.
You must abandon childish things.
You must grow up.
You must grow up.
Grow.
Grow up.
You must grow
Grow.
up. Grow up.
Grow.
Grow up.
Grow.
Grow up.
Grow.
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 Grow. Grow. Grow. Grow.
And aside from the Viveki happening, I've already given you a taste of, as the second best thing I think I have on my channel is probably this. And profane down here. Bro. Profaning is over here, and then Sacred is over there. So this one is like, all right, so I get the scene where like where some brute is taking over a place, and at the level he's operating, at the profane level, he's a man and she's a lady, and there's things, and like at the sacred level, where like I guess it's the imaginal glue that holds our reality together. She's the queen of a nation, and it's a really big deal. It's that who she is. As such, I thought I went over to our good friend GPT, and I said, this is a transcript from one of my videos. As part of a recursion, I'd like to manifest today the same material with today's tools and skills. And interestingly enough, it called it. Check this out. It gave me the cold open of remember everybody. No, it's Embody, jackass. There is no age. And special thanks to our Shadow Kabbalah, our Shadow Kabbalah production executives. But then it did this interesting bit where it added to the savings throws like full exposure, hydrate, breathe, keep your center. Consider pausing playback if it spikes you, or oof. Shoulders down, breathe into your hips, or the owl blinks. That was fun. And then it gave me back the attitude axis, the orientation thing. What did you like about this, Grim? What, the character hook? Content of character gates levels of consciousness you can responsibly inhabit. Leveling up isn't a loot drop, it's a covenant. You grow in range by keeping faith with what you've already seen. Well, that's how this stream turned out.